In some of the previous segments, you've alluded to probable cause, and we've talked about the arrest and the stop. Let me ask you, how long can an officer detain you along the side of the road? I mean, can you help me out on that?
Certainly. That's an area of the law that's still evolving in North Carolina. Obviously, if there is, and I'm going to use legal terms here, if there's an ongoing and unfolding situation, if they're doing an ongoing investigation, sometimes a DWI investigation involving a wreck could go for an hour.
Okay.
But if it's ongoing and unfolding, it could be reasonable. Now,
because they have a lot of things they're doing.
Yes, and as long as it's reasonable. Because again, we're going back to the Fourth Amendment. The only standard, there's not a statute that says how long it lasts. The standard is the Fourth Amendment and reasonableness. But the question becomes, what happens if one officer pulls you over, but he's getting off duty, and he doesn't want to do the work and be late getting off duty, so he says, well, I'm going to keep you detained here on the side of the road for 30 minutes while a trooper who's coming on duty comes over and handles it.
That actually happens?
Oh, routinely. Routinely it happens. Because a lot of DWIs happen between 11 and 2 in the morning, and that's a shift change. So routinely we see people who are pulled over by one officer who realizes that it's going to be a 3-hour process to go through all the hoops of arrest and breath testing or blood testing, and they're getting ready to get off duty, so they just keep you detained for 20 or 30 minutes out on the side of the road and then hand you off to another officer.
But there's no law specifically that's been written yet, has there, or is it being appealed about how long somebody can keep you, whether it's reasonable or not, or at what point does the arrest occur, at what point does the detention occur? Is there anything that clears that up?
There's not. That would be statutory law, and there's not statutory law. It's case law. And so you got to look at individual cases like McGrimmett, cases that actually took more than 20 minutes, and then apply the facts of those to the facts we have in front of us and find similarities and differences and argue this became an unreasonable stop when the officer was merely detaining you, and there's another buzzword, for officer's convenience rather than for an ongoing and unfolding situation.
All right, we're going to shift from that to our next segment, because coming up we're going to talk about suppressing chemical tests.